welcome you all. Thank you for being here. And this is our fourth Bharat Fintech Summit, and the responses from you are very commendable. So thank you so much for that. So we'll start with discussion on the payments related to more about how does it look into the 2030. So if you see largely the structure of payments have been set up now. If we see the digital payment as such, it has become a part of day-to-day life, right? Hardly you remember where you are carrying wallet or cash with you when you are going outside, or any transactions which you do, even that happens online mostly. So how does 2030 looks like? Because we have come so far. I mean, we may not have realized the changes what we have done or what we have bring to the table. So who are we? We are the Digital Fifth. We work as a digital finance consulting firm. We largely work with banks and NBFCs and across the BFSI sector as well. So that is where we work. We have done a lot of projects into the consulting side. We do work on the strategy insights as well as many of the implementation support projects, risk and compliances as well. Would not spend much of the time here looking at the time what we have. So we have worked across multiple clients. We have worked with bank NBFCs as well as investors as well as large fintechs, even with the small fintechs. We do corporate trainings as well. Yeah, so I'll just skip this part and directly connect to the main point which we are discussing now today, right? So it is more about the how does the digital payments are shaping up, right? If you see now, looking at back few years when we started using the digital payments and when we are today, it has moved a lot. I mean, we have moved from using the digital payment as I mean, kind of alternate medium or alternate channel for doing the transaction. That has become the main channel now. So if you see the scale what we have touched today, it's like largely on global front also we are leading with the payments. It would not be wrong to say that India is leading on the digital payment path for the world, right? The use cases like UPI or any other channels as well are leading out from this front. Yeah, so we have touched the scale. We have covered many of the pointers which are seen or which are seen to be the aspirational for the many of the countries, and these are given as a national mission as well. So which is also making us grow much more and supported by the regulators as well. So that is where it becomes most important now to move to the next stage. So what will be the next stage of this digital payments era? So how do we see it is we started with the phase one where we enabled the digital payments. We touched the high volumes, we have done the growth, we have touched upon the inclusions, we have built the multiple options so that each and every individual can experience the digital payments. And now the second part comes, that is where it is important to have the trust. Yeah, the people who are using, they should be able to trust the the services which are there using as a part of digital payments. There should be resilience is required now. So now downtime is no more option, right? I mean, earlier we used to have some of the applications were going downtime or those are were been considered. But now even a minute or even a second, if you don't get, if your transaction gets cancelled, you typically get sort of anxiety, right? Why it has happened? Because it doesn't happen in any way. So that is what is something which is important, we'll focus upon. And also the third part comes into the picture, that is on the inclusion. Building the applications or building the digital payment rails for the inclusion network is much more important now. Because we have touched more on the, I mean, if you say the urban areas, there will the focus will now shift into. And also the economic productivity as well. So how does it helps for the credit? Because I mean, just from the earlier session from what Shanti Madam was saying, that was very true. So data has become a lot more important now because it talks about, doesn't only talks about the pattern, but it does talk about the more of user behavior, and the products also can be built around that. So yeah, the UPI has grown a lot. So here, I mean, we have touched almost every retail payments are being used by the UPI. Even on the corporate side, the collections have gained the, I mean, better understanding of UPI or adoption of UPI. If you see now in the global scale, we have achieved 49% of the real-time payments are happening in India. Also, the accounts are also has grown, but there are some challenges also which we are talking about. Like there are giving the access without the proper users or proper adoption becomes another challenge for that. The retail payments have grown fast. There are multiple channels which are brought into the picture that has become important. But now the next era, what we are talking about is again needs to be resilient from the operations perspective. I mean, where does it helps or where does it evolves much on the ground as well, right? If you see here, the more of the digital area have scaled down. I mean, the be it infrastructure part, be it resilience part, be it availability part, it has grown a much longer than what we have thought about. 2030 would be not just about enabling the real payment, but having the assurance that the transaction what you have started is get completed in time with proper message, with proper notification, and with proper enablement of multiple what you can say the resources at your end. I mean, it should be kind of seamless payment, and in case if there are any failures, those are also handled in such a way that in minutes you get the refund. Nowadays also we are able to see that, but some improvement would be needed at that end as well. That is a growth path typically what we have seen for, we don't have to go so long back, because I was just discussing with my colleague that when we started using mobile payments with NEFT, it used to take 2 hours to settle the payment to the other beneficiary party. So the guys were laughing at me because they haven't experienced that, so they may not know that it used to take 2 hours, right? Then it would move to 1 hour, half hour, and it's now just a real time, right? You say you do the transaction, the person next to you receives the money. So yeah, we have come so far. So that's the best thing to happen. But now the shift will be towards the building much more important layers. So some of the things what we can see in the B2B space as well. So real-time settlement is something which is the next thing is been looked up to. So likewise, if we do today transactions, in the backend the settlement happens. Typically, this settlement takes some time, which impacts the multiple parties which are involved in this transaction. So that is something which is going to, which is getting focused now. So that will be shifted to the real-time payments, I mean real-time settlements as well. So as and when the transaction happens, it reaches to the end beneficiary at the same time. So this will take some time to get integrated into the ERP, but yes, we are talking about 2030, so it is a very long time to cover. So before that, definitely we'll be able to see these use cases in the market as well. Data is something which has grown a lot. I mean, if you see today, just based on what apps you are using or what are the payments you are using, so these all payments are being recorded, and these are also being analyzed to provide you better experience, better products, and better ground to do the digital transactions. So that is something which is getting more useful. So now it has moved into the multiple parts. So it just started with analyzing the transactions, then understanding the behavior, providing proper products, offering proper products, and then providing services. Now it has moved to the using that data for the credit as well. So that is something which will be seen much more deeply, how that data uses can happen in this as well. Talking about the fintechs and the enablers perspective, so this era looks like more from the mergers and acquisitions. So likely what may happen at the players which have been enabled or which have evolved will definitely look after merger and acquisition. So this will also enable the financial institutions also to take play into this. So there are chances they are also going to get involved into this whole digital payment era of merchant and acquisitions also. So there are likely to have multiple small companies will get acquired or either get merged with the larger companies, and they offer a bundled product. So if you see even today whatever apps we are using, largely any app will be there which is providing only the payment service. There will be any additional service definitely will be there along with that. So that is something been seen as one of the common factor which is going to get grow more, and which is going to get give the more space for the players to work on multiple products as well. Yeah, so this is a particular area where the focus would be more, and the importance part of it also will become, because all the digital transactions, if you see, are just those are built on the trust, right? So suppose today I do the transaction, I put the name of say the beneficiary, or scan the QR code and do the transaction, it received by the person. I have built that trust on that, right? I mean, just to give you an example, so around 2015-16, we started to work on UPI, which was very new back then, right? So first thing what we had to do is do the 10,000 transactions in a month to test the app, right? And now it will be kind of half an hour, so 30 minutes is also far longer for the 10,000 transactions. But it took us month to build that, right? Then eventually it got circulated within the staff. Then then I was represented in the bank, so it got circulated in the staff. Then later we launched, and then all these things have happened, right? But to build that initial period, because it was unknown, right? You can just put the name and at the rate something, and transaction happens, right? And don't have to worry about account number, IFSC, which was back then kind of known to everyone. Now nobody knows the account number as well, right? We used to have account number and IFSC by heart by then. So that is something which has transformed along, because that build the trust. When you do the transaction, it reaches to the beneficiary, you get the notification as well. So that trust got built. So that is something which needs to be focused. But yeah, along with that, the frauds is another the factor where the focus should be there. Focus will be there. Rather, it has started working on as well, because there are. Looking at the overall awareness perspective, yes, we are. I mean, everybody is using transactions, but still there are frauds which are happening, and those are more from the awareness perspective, that how the users are perceiving or how they are using the application. So that is something which needs to be work on more. So that would be another factor which will be looked upon. Yeah, and talking about the next part of it, which is the DPDPA again. So DPDPA has been evolved, it's been getting into the practice now. The payments is the first part which will be typically built on top of that, because there is lot of data. I mean, as we are saying, it's kind of contradictory what we are saying earlier, like data will become the important part of it. But how much data is used by whom and for what purpose, till what period, that will drive the change, right? Because with the DPDP into the action, we'll have to look after how the application provider are using that data, how they are taking care of the consent which have been given for that. What are the things they are looking at to recover the, whenever anybody uninstalls or the consent has been removed, how are they handling that situation? So that becomes something, the part which will have to be taken care of. So that would require a lot of focus, right? It will not happen without building the holistic platforms as well, because that should take care of the customer data as well as providing the opportunities for the business as well. So largely, if we see this looks very kind of promising from the digital payments perspective, because the growth would be there. There will be a lot of things which will be coming in. Of course, the AI is something which is at the core of every innovation which is happening today. So that is also getting a lot of opportunities in the payment space. So that is something also which will be able to see. But what needs to be taken care of is from the how are we handling the data, how we build the trust, how resilient systems are, right? Something which I think should be looked at. Say, suppose if I do a transaction to somebody, and say I'm using any payment network, or else say I'm using IMPS, but somehow that transaction get failed because of some reason. Can there be the system which can route that payment to the next available payment system? So from say IMPS it is failing, will it move to the UPI and do the transaction then and there itself? So those kind of things should come into the picture, which will give more resilience for the user, and more what you can say value to the customer, stating that yes, if I am using digital payment, I know that transaction is going to happen. So that is something should be looked upon, and those are the things which we think should come into the future as well. So yeah, that is from my side, from the payment vision of 2030. Yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you for being there.